Hey guys, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program with Nitro. There's a new update finally out where you can go and capture an asteroid, and there's a whole bunch of new parts that they just came out with too that I just found out about. So I wanted to jump in here and get a ship out and try to capture an asteroid and get it around Kerbin. So we'll see how well that goes. In the tab here under propulsion, they had a bunch of new engines and new fuel parts. So a bunch of new things that you guys can play around with now that kind of been waiting for. New solid rocket booster looks like too. I've only used a couple of these new things that came out. And also under the structural tab, you'll notice we have a couple of new stacked decouplers and things like that. So not a whole bunch here, but there are some new parts that look pretty interesting, especially these launch escape system, and I would guess that this advanced grabbing unit is what we need to grab onto our asteroid, but not quite sure how that works, so I'm going to have to run a few tests here and just see what happens. I pre-built a ship that I'm going to send out to first asteroid called the Interceptor, so Interceptor, here it is, using some new parts. So here I added one of the new engines on the bottom and a double stack of their new fuel pods, and then an adapter here, and then standard engine with a 220 on the bottom of that, and some RCS and a smaller engine up here, and then finally up at the top I got a little ion powered probe. And I also put a little searchlight on here so we'll be able to take a look at the space object that we come in contact with. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and launch this thing. Alright, nighttime launch. So, my goal right now is just to get this into orbit, and then we can go from there as far as intercepting an object and getting close to it. So, here we go. Alright, so there you can see this how much power this engine has and how much fuel I've used. So these have, it looks like double the orange tanks, and I burnt through a good portion of that one there. So quite a bit of fuel in these things. I'm interested to see how they play out with some advanced heavy lifter designs and things like that. So power's looking good. I do have a little bit of RCS on here just to help with the turning of this thing now that we're getting up into space. And because this engine produces so much thrust when you're in space, you just barely need hardly any power at all to achieve orbit with this. And this other one will be able to run at full power, and we have plenty of fuel in that, so should be fine. And so I'll go ahead and fire the engines up to 1/4 here and try and achieve orbit. And if I got enough fuel left in this thing, and I'm pretty sure I will, I'll try and get that launch stage to deorbit back into Kerbin's atmosphere. Alright, now what you'll see over here, inside of Kerbin orbit, this is one of the new asteroids that's just in the game, and the reason it's showing up right here is because I'm currently tracking it with the tracking station, and I'll go over that here in a bit once I achieve orbit. Alright, so far so good, looking pretty good here. Should have plenty of fuel for this. Yep, there we go. And we have orbit. So, still got a lot of fuel left in this thing. I think I'm going to grow the apoapsis out as much as possible. And we got another one over here. So, now that we're in orbit, what you'll notice when you look out into your orbital view in the map, you'll see these little question marks. And these are unknown objects, and I'll show you your size class B small, and when it was last seen by the tracking station, where it is now. So, ooh, this one is getting captured already. That's interesting. Okay, so when you zoom out, you'll see a bunch of these little dots out here. So these are unknown objects or space rocks that are flying around space. And then when you click on them and try to find their trajectories, some of them will actually intercept planet paths. And I actually just had a large one intercept Kerbin orbit, and it was coming in on a polar orbit, and it hit the planet. So I didn't actually go in and watch it, but I just saw it on the orbital view. It was intercepting into the top of the terrain here, and yeah, I think it was a large one, so that would have been the end of all life on Kerbin right there. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how you do this. So you won't actually see the trajectories when you're in the orbital view like that. So what you gotta do if you're tracking an asteroid, you need to come into your tracking station here, so now it finally has a more useful purpose. And when you zoom out into orbital view, you'll still see the dots, and what you need to do is you need to click on them. I'll just click on this one here. And then down here at the bottom left, you'll see track object be highlighted. So once you click that, you'll get this layout, and it'll tell you the name of the object and everything, how good your signal strength is, and where it is, and it'll track it, and then it'll show up for you to actually plot intercept maneuvers and things like that when you're actually flying your ship. One of the new things that they did that I really hate is they changed the tab up here. So now when you click on it, all of these are turned on, and you have to turn them off. So when you have debris and stuff, this whole thing is going to be cluttered. I liked it a lot better when you just click it and it shows everything under that category. So I do not like how that was changed. Hope they change it back. But when I was out there in the view, it looked like this object was actually going to get captured in an orbit around Kerbin. It actually looks pretty good. So as we can see here, it does have a bit of an inclination change. It's kind of similar to Minmus, so not too bad. But once we grow our orbit out there, the inclination curve won't really be that bad. So this looks like the ideal situation to send a little probe out there. I want to see what it looks like, what I'm dealing with, and then I'm going to, if I have enough time and it's still in orbit, I want to build a ship and see if I can get out here and intercept this thing. So let's go back to the Interceptor and do that right now and try to get out there. Alright, back here at the Interceptor. And let's see. Gotta know what this is. Activate my RCS. Power's still good. I do have some solar panels at the top there on the probe. So that's probably what we're supposed to see. Alright, so I'll get this down to less than 100, so that's good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Apoapsis and burn the rest of that fuel, doing retrograde burn, so that way I can jettison that tank down here into the atmosphere, and then I'll complete a Hammond transfer and get a full orbit around Kerbin, and then I can start plotting the intercept for this thing. And it does look like it's getting captured, barely, but we'll see what happens. Have to keep an eye on it. Alright, let's go ahead and go out to Apoapsis and get this little part done. If it does get captured, that'll be perfect, because then I'll be able to slowly plan how to build my ship, and I won't have to rush it. Alright, so now we're out here, we're already at retrograde. And that impacts. And I think I just ran out of fuel. Yep, alright. So, let's go ahead and jettison. And let's just get up and away. Oh yeah, you can see the new inside of the decoupler there. Looks pretty cool for the larger ones. I do like that. So let's just thrust out of the way of this thing. And now we can go prograde. And we'll get our orbit back. So now we have full orbit, got plenty of fuel, and of course I still have all the xenon gas inside of this thing, or xenon gas, I guess it's called. Yeah. And still got this full tank here, plus all the RCS, so definitely have plenty of fuel for an intercept. So now I can set it as my target, and it does look like it's escaping, but we'll see. Alright, so here's the inclination node. Perfect. And we got 2 minutes to plan. Here. Alright, perfect, not a number. This is also another little nifty little UI thing they added here. You have an X mark, and I believe this gets rid of the maneuver node that you had planned. I'll find out here in a minute. So that way you don't have to always right click on the node. And this will change from an X to a check mark once you start burning, so you'll see that here too. So this shouldn't take more than 30 seconds. And I went the wrong way. I actually completed that with RCS. So, yep, it does. So when you hit that little check mark at the X, it gets rid of your maneuver node, and you don't have to right-click it on it anymore, which is pretty nifty. So now we have our inclination. I just need to plan an intercept. So if this thing's moving out here, it's moving slower than we are. So that means I can plan an intercept with it like this. So looks like it's right there. Oh yeah, there's also new little gizmos I have not tampered with yet. So now when you right click on this thing, you'll see there's a couple different little things that we got here. So we have a plus and a minus. So I'm not really sure what that means. Oh, I see. So this new plus and minus thing here, when you click on that for intercepts, it looks like it ticks away time. So this means one complete orbit, and then it'll be wherever this thing is. So when you hit that, you're increasing the amount of time till you reach that intercept by one full orbit. And you can see that down here on the time node. So that's kind of cool too. Don't know if I'll ever use that, but I guess it would be useful for interplanetary intercepts and things like that. So yeah, it's moving away pretty quick. I don't know if I'll be able to catch it here. Oh, yeah, damn it. It's not moving intercept. Yeah, it's gonna pull away from us, it looks like. That is not good. So, not really quite sure how to deal with this. I guess. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's not moving. Well, that's not helpful. I mean, even if I do a full burn, I'm still gonna miss it here, it looks like. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I can work with this. Even though it is excessive. 87 kilometers. Yeah. It could be a little better, I guess. So. Alright, here we go, here we go. 65. 9, I'll take it. So 9 I can work with. So even though it looks like I'm going to overshoot it, I should have enough fuel to fix this once we get there. So 686 meters per second, we can do that. So I'm going to plan for that right now. And that's 33 minutes. Alright, so this burn shouldn't take more than a minute, I don't think, to do. Rough estimate. Let's see what we get to. Oh, crap. Overshot it with the time warp. Oh well. It'll work. So that brings us to 14. Oh, here we go. Alright, so I'm just using RCS right now and trying to get the best case scenario. So it looks like 9 is pretty much where I'm at. I can't really do better than 9 right now. 0.1, we can probably fix this a little bit. Just a hair. 0.0, and that brings us to 2.3. That's render range. That's perfect. Alright. Getting pretty lucky so far. Hopefully luck holds out till we get there. Okay. So I overshot it, but that's fine. I don't actually want to use that node. I just want to use RCS. Just watch it like this. That's about as good as I can do. So within 2, so that's good enough. And it's pretty much hovering on not a number in 0.0, which is just what I want. So this thing is going to be small, and it's probably not going to have gravity, which means I'm going to have to stop when I get there. And I do have plenty of fuel, so I'm not really worried about that. And the electric charge is good, so let's just go ahead and open up the solar panels here. I set those to an action group, so we already got those open. Little satellite dish there just so we can communicate back to our tracking station. I don't actually know if that's a thing yet, but we'll find out because I'll have a dish orbiting it, hopefully. If it has any gravity at all, we can orbit. But I mean, the gravity of this thing is probably far, far less than Minmus, so I'm not really holding out too much hope for an orbit. We'll see what happens here. Okay. So, what do we got? It's closing in. Actually, I should probably plan this out right before I get here. So, this will happen in 5 minutes. So, in 5 minutes, I'm going to need to change my trajectory to match that of this object. That I already know. So that's gonna have to be something like that. So that's just matching the direction that it is going. So if I do that, and I'm not even sure if this is the right way to do this. Let's see, do we have target? Yeah, we do. Okay, so yeah, that's right. 400 meters per second. Anti-target. That should be. That seems right. I don't know why it just does. Okay. Alright, that's a move. So, this thing that we are looking for should be popping up here somewhere. It's behind us. Alright, here we go. Going in. Oh, there we go. We have target. Target velocity. So, there it is. Right there. Okay. And that's a bit fast. Okay, so I did actually plan that right. That's freaking perfect. So, what I actually did is just planned a regular intercept node with this thing without even really realizing what I was doing there. But that's okay, it works. So as long as it shows up like this, like it would any regular intercept, it's fine. because that means this. Okay. So let's see, we're passing it, so we don't want to pass it. So I want to get rid of that, and I want to head towards it like I want to dock with it. So in order to do that, I just want to make sure I get my retrograde marker over this retro target marker. Because that means I'm headed directly for it, and right now my engine is pointing towards it. So that's what we want. Get within range. So, if possible, if this thing does have a sliver of gravity, I should be able to land this little probe on it, right on the engine. Or maybe even land this thing sideways or something, depending on the terrain on this little asteroid. So we are getting a little closer here. I don't really want to mess with time warp too much, although I can speed it up a little bit. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. So let's slow down. Oh boy, coming in hot. Okay, 1.2 meters per second. Oh man, look at that thing. It's all kinds of screwed up. Alright, this is nifty. So, half a meter a second is pretty good. Oh, this is cool. I don't think I can get within orbit of this thing. I'm zooming in all the way, so that's max zoom level right there. I think I can just follow it. I don't think it's actually possible to orbit this thing. Which does make sense because, you know, it's not that much bigger than I am. Man, is it funky looking. It's like they just reuse their same texture that they did on the moon too, but that's okay. Alright, so we're getting real close now. See if we can get a little closer. Alright. That's kind of risky, but looks good. So I think this is what we would classify as a small one. I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Alright, so I think we're pretty much at stop around this thing, which is nice. Look at that. Alright, so now that we're here, right, I need to get rid of this section. So let's go ahead and actually I kind of want to ram this engine into this darn thing. So it'll definitely hit. So let's burn away from it. Okay. Now we need to slow down and head towards it. Oh, here we go. Aww. Alright. Well, that's really useful information. So, if this debris hits this darn thing, it's not going to instantly explode, which means you can hit it at a little bit of speed, kind of like landing. I mean, granted that was only about 2 meters per second, but still, it's still quite fast for a large object to impact another large object in space. Alright. So I actually want to see if I can just almost dock with touching it. Yep, I'm touching the surface of it there. Oh boy. Okay. Looks like it's spinning too. I don't know if I put on a little bit of spin on this thing or what happened there. Let's see if I can just orient this sucker. I'll try to. Yeah. Come on. No. Stop moving. Use that command, damn it. Alright. Not really sure what to do now. So this is one of the new asteroids that we got here, and I think this is a small one. So I don't think you can orbit it at all. It doesn't look like orbit is possible because I'm barely inching towards the surface there, and I'm not really sure if that's actually due to gravity or if it's just because I thrusted towards the surface here with RCS. So, not real sure on that. But we're just drifting. But that looks like pretty much a full stop right next to one of the new asteroids, which is pretty cool. And this thing is inside of inside the solar range, so I'll be able to get solar power. And it's pointed at Kerbin, which means we should be able to get a good deal of satellite coverage as well. So I should be able to easily track this thing if this has anything to do with signal strength, but you might even have to get a satellite and anchor it to the sucker or something like that, but we'll see. This is definitely cool. So now that we have this in place, I think the next step is to see if I can continue to track it and then go and get something to latch onto it and see if I can actually get this one here into orbit around Kerbin, although it might be too late for that because I do believe I'm headed out into outer space. So, yeah. But if this is an object that it can be acted on, right, then you should be able to stop it. If I get on the other side of it and whatnot, and I change this to full orbital, it might be possible. I don't know, to actually stop it without using the special equipment. So we'll see. But double click on it, certainly acts like a regular object here, which I did read and listen to their thread. They said they used the same design as they would a ship, so the way the system handles it, this is the same as this in terms of programming, I think. So that's why. So if that system is already in place, I should be able to just easily come up here and latch onto this funky thing, and then maybe crash it into Kerbin, or possibly land it at the space center. That'd be interesting if we could do that. Depending on what the mass of this thing is, right? Because if this thing is too heavy, then we got problems. But it is an asteroid. So I don't really have the information for it, I don't think. But alright, so let's do that. Let's go back to the Space Center and plan the next move. I think I just want to send up something and latch onto it, and then we do have to change its orbit and everything. And I'm really not sure how to do that yet. But at least we intercepted it. So let's see, now that we have all this friggin' debris, so that's the one piece of debris, so let's get rid of that. And there's the interceptor. So yeah. Alright, so it is on the same trajectory as that thing is. And here's the asteroid tracking. So it's a Class C asteroid, so it's not a small B. So this is average size. Alright. So it doesn't look like... I mean, we have good signal strength, but I don't think that that little satellite I put in orbit around there, or put next to it, I should say, is really doing anything. So I think the next step is to just build a ship and see if we can grab it. I haven't played around with any of these new parts or anything yet, so we'll see how well this goes. Alright, so I do want to send a Kerbal up there as part of this mission, but I'm not really sure what the size is on these things, so yep. Alright, that's what I figured. So it is about that size. Haha, look at there! My flag is on the side of the ship, that is awesome. So, is it like that with all the pods? Gotta find out now. Yep, so there's a flag there too. That's pretty cool. It looks like they just, copy pasted a decal into the texture space on all these things. I think it's on all the pods. It's on that one too. It wasn't on any of these though, probably because it's well, probe cores are too small, I bet. And it's not that one. It's on this one. Hey, it's on that one too. That's pretty cool. So if your flag is the American flag, then that would actually look pretty sweet. It'd be like a real NASA ship. It's on that side too. So that's cool. I did not know that they did that too. If we sent up multiple Kerbals in this pod, that's just more to bring back, right? But then again, we do need a lot of fuel, so that's probably the best option. So I'm going to go ahead and build one of these. And I'm going to build a 3-man pod, and I'm going to pause the recording while I do that, I think, and then bring you guys back in once I have the ship fully built. Alright, so this is the ship that I came up with, and of course it is called the Claw, because that is what we're going to be using here. We're going to be using this new claw part that they have for grappling onto things, and I set up an action group for it, so all I have to do is press 2 and it'll open that up, and then 1 is going to toggle these little solar panels I have on the side of the ship here, just so this claw constantly has power. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to decouple this once we get into orbit around Kerbin. Actually, I think if I can get a... Now that I think about it, if possible, let's see here. If I put maybe a battery and one of these. Oops, got symmetry on. Oh, it's going too far in. I should be able to do that, right? Hopefully. Oh. Actually, if I have this, I don't even need this decoupler here, because all I gotta do is just decouple it regularly, and yeah, that should work. Because I might want to come back up to the asteroid later, right, and dock something on there. So this will give me, hopefully, a stationary docking port on the asteroid itself. The only problem is I want power if it is not facing the sun. So I might as well just put a couple of these on here somehow. One last thing before we get to launch. It's always something. Probably just do that. And then just for kicks, put some antennas on there so we can communicate. Alright, so I think that'll work best. And then we got solar panels. This doesn't have any fuel in it, so I don't have to worry about fuel crossfeed here. One of the new little tweakable things that you can do is by right-clicking on any of the parts of the flag on it, you can turn on and off the flag there if you want to, so that's a cool little added feature. This might look like quite a bit of RCS, but I do want to find the optimal spot for this thing, and I'm not really sure how well one of these asteroids will handle, especially such an oddly shaped thing with maneuvering. So I want to be very careful with how I maneuver this thing. I didn't think I could attach those on there. I might be able to yet. Let's see. Aha, I can. Okay. So that'll make sure that this is all nice and stable while I'm doing what I gotta do, and this will also support the engine thrust power. So this is a manned mission instead of an unmanned mission. I decided to do a manned one, and this will land back on the surface of Kerbin. And I do have a lot of engines right here ready to go for when we get up there. Strutted them all together onto the main ship here. And then this is a NASA Delta IV rocket. One of the things I was really worried about is these large tanks colliding against this and possibly damaging the craft, so I didn't test it without these, but I think the best option is just to go with the Separatrons here. They work really well for stuff like this, and I think this is pretty much their intended use, is for separating these large booster stages like this safely. So I just put these all over this thing. And I am using one of these new engines now. This does have less power than this double one that I used on the first rocket, but because it has less power, it's going to consume less fuel, and it should get off the ground just fine. So that's why I went with that decision. All the rest of this is asparagus staged, and then these boosters are basically onion staging. Alright, so let's launch after I get my crew. Where's Ensign? I want to get Ensign. Or Buzz. And get Ensign. See him. There he is. Alright, so we got Captain Kirk, Ensign, and Danny ready to go. And my camera has spawned 10 miles away. That's annoying. Okay. Alright, nice stable on the launch pad. Let's go ahead and set my target now. So, yeah, I'll set that as a target. And we're ready to go. Alright, so we're just about in space. Still got plenty of fuel left in this thing. So 4,074 is a significant amount. And this thing lights up nicely now. Not too much bloom happening like the older lights did, so I don't know if they did improvements on that or not. I doubt it, but looks good so far. Not using up any energy either, because we do have these electro generators giving us power. And we're at 78,000 meters, so just about ready to start the burn here, just to achieve orbit. And there we go. So we now have full orbit and plenty of fuel left in this, so I don't want to waste that. And let's just go ahead and turn off those lights for now. Take a look at our target out here. So he's getting away. And we do have to do that inclination burn, so it doesn't have the other one, but it should be right about here. And if that's a descending, that means this is ascending, so we got descend. Can't really afford to lose this, so I'm gonna have to work with 0.3, I think. Maybe I can do a little more. So, not sure what what that inclination is gonna wind up being, but looks about right. Right? These lines are equal. Looks good enough. Alright, so we'll just plan for that. So I have no idea what our inclination is, but hopefully it is enough. So let's Let's see if we can get a little intercept. I honestly doubt it. Yeah. It's gonna be a little off. Maybe do that. It's getting a little closer. Oh, here we go. Got a little something. So, 1,800 kilometers. Come on. It's 800. Alright, whatever. I'm just gonna have to do something here. took a bit of fuel, but it's about as good as I can do. See how close we get up here. Okay. I'm just gonna have to try and do something like this. Hopefully it works. Alright, we're getting closer. Hopefully. Might be pulling away from us now. Yeah, it is. Okay. So let's see here. Target. Just gonna have to try and treat this like a long-range intercept, I guess. And let's see what that did. Got plenty of fuel. So let's see here. Alright, we are closing in. Alright, now we're getting closer. So barely closing into it here, 100,000 meters. Alright. So, alright, there's our target, and there is our little satellite, which has drifted apart from it. Okay. fast. Alright. Target acquired, coming in. Satellites drifted quite a bit. Alright, so 10 meters per second. I'm not really sure what the impact tolerance is for the claw, but I do want to take this slow. I should have plenty of fuel to complete the mission, even though I had to stage a couple of those. Guess I should have packed a little bit of a transfer stage. Because all this fuel is really supposed to be meant for the asteroid. Alright, so now I just have to find a good spot to hook this thing into so I can control it. And that is a tricky thing because I'm really not very sure where the center of mass is. So we'll see. What happens here? Oops, a little bit too far. Alright, so 0.2 is definitely what we want. We'll probably actually use RCS here. Fine tune this a little bit. There we go. Alright. I want to get it on this flat zone up here, or on this giant nub. I think somewhere on this nub would probably be the best spot, just because it's nice and flat. But then again, the center of mass would go along that way, so maybe on the bottom here towards the black spot? Not really sure. Okay. So let's bring her to a stop. Alright. Okay. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Well, on the back side here looks pretty good as well, because then I can just push it that way. I'm gonna do that. That sounds like a good plan. So, let's see, here's my RCS. Let's go this way. Let's open the claw. So the claw is prepared. Okay, let's see, angle a little bit that way. That way. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up around and then come back right down onto it, because that looks like the best spot to me. Okay, that's far enough. Alright. And backwards. And we can speed that up. Alright. Kill velocity. Okay. Now, how to do this. Definitely want to try to get on the center of mass. Let's go ahead and get these Kerbals out here. Let go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to survey the asteroid here. Take a look at what we got. So they do have lights, but do they reflect the asteroid? it's not on. There we go. Aha. Okay. There we go. Okay. Alright, so he's nice and stable. Ooh. Target center of mass. That's what I want to do. Is that what I did? I hit target. Really not sure what's going on here. Okay. I'm just gonna keep that Kerbal right there. And then, oh. What the? It switched to the, to the darn asteroid. Okay, so it looks like the target marker is inside on the center of mass. So that is pretty much where I need to go. So let's maneuver my ship down and to the left. Maybe back a little bit. I'll pretty much go right where this Kerbal's floating, I think. If that's a center of mass. Oh boy. I want to aim that way, I think. Go straight into it. I have no idea how this is going to work, but we'll see. Alright, so that looks good. Turn on our lights here so we can see what I'm doing. Angle like that. And let's go. Alright, we're going in at 0.2 meters per second. And it's armed, so hopefully it'll just latch onto the darn thing. Okay, let's go down a little bit here. And okay. I like that. That looks good. Looking good. Want to get right in the middle right there. It's like I'm off just a bit. Okay. Alright, right where I wanted to be. Perfect. So, alright, the claw has grabbed on. It acted just like a docking thing did. So we are now attached, and yeah, that doesn't really look like the center of mass, if the center of mass is over here somewhere. I have no idea. But that is definitely something that you would do, is find the center of mass, because you want to apply thrust through the center of mass, otherwise this darn thing's gonna be jiggling all over the place. Alright, so I just gotta get you back on board. There we go. Alright. Okay, so we're attached. Don't need a target anymore. And are we even in orbit of anything? No, we're not. So now I need to plan an intercept with Kerbin, and since Kerbin is right there, let's wonder. I don't think that'll work. I want to do the moon, since the moon is along the equator. Kerbin anyways. Oh, did I see something? Oh, there we go. Okay, Kerbin, periapsis, that's what I want. 20, 16. Ooh. Okay, so 10 million, right? That's what that said. Crap. Come on. 9 millions. That's the number I want to see. 8, 7, 6. Alright, so try 300,000 and see what that gets us. So that maneuver node is in 47 minutes, 187.3 meters per second. So that's definitely doable. Should have hopefully no problem doing this. Now, I want to make sure I'm controlling from here. And can I move this guy? It does rotate. Okay. So we are in business. Can actually rotate the asteroid. I'm going to try to do this very carefully. I think the best method, really, and I'm not sure if this is possible yet with multiple claws, but if you had multiple claws, you would ideally want to find the flattest location along the center of mass, I think, with 2 or 3, just so you have a good base, and then probably have a very short, stocky craft with lots of fuel on it, so that way you try to keep it as close to the surface as possible. Because with something long like this, it's going to wobble and be pretty unstable. But so far, so good. It looks okay. Alright, right there. Alright, that looks good. So it says 30 seconds. I don't believe it. So it's gonna take a little bit longer than 30 seconds. I'm probably gonna go for more like 3 minutes. Okay. So just ahead of time, just so I can take this nice and slow here. And monopropellant looks good, so here we go. Oh boy, yep. We are not on the center of mass. Oh boy. That's what I was afraid of. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to take this in slow, controlled bursts here. I'm just afraid that this thing's gonna snap off and break. slow. Where this thing's gonna... It's just gonna snap. I do not trust this connection at all. Oh boy, it's wobbling all over the place. Oh, you can rename the asteroid? That's awesome. Sweet. Did it rename? Awesome. So yeah. Asteroid's name is now Hendrix. Yep. Spinning out of control real quick. Oh, I don't want that thing to snap. So that was just barely 1/4 power right there, and was already experiencing problems. And try using RCS, I guess, but I don't think I have enough for this. Yeah, I do not have enough RCS for that. That's for sure. Alright, so that's the next set of engines that's out. I don't want to jettison them yet, though, because I think it's gonna cause problems. Maybe an ion engine probably would have been the best choice. It would have been very, very slow, but you wouldn't have to worry about all this horrible wobbling. Yeah, there goes those. Yeah, this is a really rough thing to try and control. So I'm basically just gonna keep doing this little by little for the next long period of time here. And then I'll bring you guys back in once we have this burn complete and we have an intercept back at Kerbin.